Welcome to Brazil, or should we say, yeah, come to Brazil, because now we have a Brazilian band here. Not the first time, not the second time, but still quite unusual to get package from Brazil. So obviously I didn't play any of this, to get this for review. Lutemkrat sent this for me for review purposes, and here it is. Let's talk about this Brazilian one-man band. I don't know how my pronunciation suddenly started changing, but it is what it is. So obviously Brazil has been known for decades as one of the homes, or should we say safe havens, for extreme metal. Whether we're talking about old school thrash, we're talking about old school death metal, or we're talking about old school black death thrash combinations and the like. Brazil has been home for many influential bands, and still obviously is. This is how the package looks like, and here it is, Lutemkrat's homepage on Metal Archive site. Not the actual home website, but you get the idea. And as you can see, this band has been here since 2002, making very early on the first demo, and then moving on to album lengths a few years later. But unlike a lot of other bands, never been too active. I mean, between the second album and the first album from 2007, 18 years. That's quite a lot of time, really, and one can only wonder why. There has been these smaller releases like an EP and some singles, but singles are usually taken from albums, so they don't really count like that. So even if we would compare to the previous work, the EP from 2012, it's still 13 years. Now, if you look at this member list, you will probably make a wild guess why so. Wolf Lutemkrat, the only official member of the band, taking care of just pretty much everything here, has some other bands. And now you might be thinking maybe he was busy with the other bands. Probably so. We won't find out that with this review, because obviously we will focus on the album. Now, when it comes to the name, probably some people are asking, like, what does that mean? Now, I'm just going to stick with the explanation here on Metal Archives, which says Lutemkrat has no literal meaning, though the word is supposed to represent the ethos of the band: destruction, war, chaos, loyalty, and honor. Now, I'll take it for what it is here, because it makes no sense for me to really dig past to it, dig to the past, dig to the origins or whatever. That would be interview stuff. But let's stick with that explanation and talk about this very album. Goes through some 35 minutes, give or take, and 5 tracks, so not exactly your typical 40-45 minutes of an album, but still definitely a full album. And this was already released during the summer 2025, so a little bit late here. Musically, this is quite interesting because it doesn't really sound like what you might be thinking as a typical Brazilian band. Never mind what it is, whether you're talking about Sarcophagos or Mystifiers or Sepulturas or whatever. This is very much like a North European thing. You could really say this is kind of like Nordic thing, really, because Lutemkrat's Lutemkrat's music is definitely the kind of a second wave melodic black metal that is very global in a way, universal in that sense. So doesn't sound like any specific country or scene for that matter, but you know, the kind of a stuff that you have probably heard hundreds and hundreds of times again and again. Musically, it's pretty well done. It's very easy to listen. It has this so-called hit potential with those catchy melodies and all. So everything is pretty nice. Now, personally, I don't find any big flaws here. Whether we're talking about the vocals or production or, once again, individual riffs or songs, everything is pretty nailed. I mean, this is very easy album to listen to in a way. It doesn't get you bored. But if it's missing something, it's missing that magical thing that separates the real good ones from the great ones. Or even the decent, fairly good ones from the real good ones. I'm saying this because I really like to listen to it. But once I'm like done with it, and I went through it a few times, I'm like, nothing really kind of makes me yearn for more and more. Not like a real good beer. More so, this is something that I'm totally fine listening to it, and I can really enjoy it to a certain degree, but it doesn't make me instantaneous fan. Like I'm gonna order online a patch or shirt or whatever. You get the idea. Would I see it live? Definitely. Would I travel to another country to see the live? Not so much. And I think that's really the kind of a dividing thing to say about it. So it's fairly good, and it's totally recommended to people who like melodic black metal. Because once again, nothing exactly here is bad or even mediocrity. But comparing this among the best in the melodic black metal department, yeah, this is probably not the band you're gonna take on a deserted island. But be it as may, I think this is worth a listen, especially if you are into melodic kind and you don't mind it sounds like a lot of other bands out there, because it is indeed finely executed. And while nothing out of ordinary is happening here, sometimes you just need a dose of some good proper melodic black metal. No gimmicks, no bullshit, nothing that is mandatory different. So take it as you will. Links are included in the description box. Go and enjoy. Thank you.